This exploiter was quite clearly made for the prison and go crowd. Thus, we have here several beautiful women who are imprisoned and tortured. Completely lacking in this film is a source of reference, a coordinate system in which we could place any of these people. There are no answers to questions such as why or where from regarding any of the characters. They don't have a future, a past, a motivation, a connection to any kind of life as we know it. We normally criticize movie characters as two-dimensional when they are underwritten. Here even one-dimensional would give too much credit, as they don't move in space, time or behavior. Thus there wasn't much acting skill asked of the cast, and thus they have no problem coping with this very limited demand. Especially Howard Vernon is excellent as portraying unpleasant people of the sinister kind. Compared to other Franco flicks, the cinematography is exceptionally good and at times even inspirational. The sets are fine too, although it has to be said that torturing instruments that are meant to aid interrogation completely fail their purpose if they almost instantaneously kill. In the seedy underbelly of 1970s exploitation cinema, Women in Cellblock 9 stand as a prime example of the genre's excesses and shortcomings. Directed by Jess Franco, this German-Spanish co-production promises a tantalizing blend of female prisoners, sadistic warden and gratuitous nudity, but ultimately deliver a sleazy and incoherent mess that failed to captivate or arouse. The paper-thin plot revolves around a group of women incarcerated in a notorious prison, where they endure various forms of abuse and degradation at the hand of sadistic warden and his equally depraved guards. From forced strip searches to outright assault, the film reveals in its exploitation element, leaving little room for character development or narrative substance. While the film's primary selling point is undoubtedly its abundance of nudity and salacious content, even this element failed to deliver the intended titillation. The gratuitous scenes often feel gratuitous and lack any real erotic charge, coming across as cheap and exploitative rather than provocative or daring. Performances across the board are amateurish at best, with the actors seemingly more focused on disrobing than delivering convincing portrayals. The dialogue is equally cringeworthy, with tilted lines and awkward delivery further undermining the film's already tenuous credibility. Visually, Frauen for Zellenblock 9 is a mixed bag, with some competent cinematography and lighting occasionally punctuating the otherwise shoddy production values. However, these fleeting moments of technical proficiency are quickly overshadowed by the film's overall sleaziness and lack of artistic merit. In the end, Frauen for Zellenblock 9 is a prime example of exploitation cinema at its most gratuitous and least compelling. While it may hold some nostalgic value for die-hard fans of the genre, most viewers will find little to enjoy in this tawdry and ultimately forgettable exercise in cinematic excess. This movie begins with a small group of women being transported by truck into a southern American jungle so that they can join up with a band of revolutionaries. Unfortunately, they are captured by government soldiers and three of them are sent to a female prison hidden far from civilization. While there, they are tortured in the hope that one of them will disclose information about the revolutionaries that the government can use. As far as this movie is concerned, over half of the movie focuses on the torture aspect at the expense of everything else. To be sure, there is quite a bit of nudity and it isn't all bad, especially with regard to Karine Gambier and Susan Hemingway. But some of these torture scenes ran on much too long, which resulted in a film that never realized the potential it clearly had. Additionally, some of those same scenes were just plain disgusting as well. Sleaziness and nudism abound in this movie with a lot of gory scenes, grisly killing and loathing frame. Somewhere in the jungle of South Africa, mercenaries stop a truck which has supposedly loaded fruit. The cargo results and who the prisoners really fear them. The unfortunate girl escape but are relentlessly chased by the most dreaded pursuers and they will stop at nothing to get their purport and at whatever means. From the fevered, wonderfully perverted mind of Spanish filmmaker Jess Franco and Swiss producer Owen Dietrich comes the notorious Women in Prison Soccer, Frauen for Zellenblock 9 or Women in Cellblock 9 or Tropical Inferno. This is an extremely controversial movie. Howard Vernon and Karine Gambier and tells the tale of a gaggle of female freedom fighters who are taken to a secluded women's jungle prison where they endure all manner of violent humiliation. And with Howard Vernon and Dora Dole showing as two-feared villain warden at a death camp mistreating inmate and undergoing creepy criminal act. Like all of the production in the prolific Franco Dietrich collaboration canon, this Zellenblock 9 or Cellblock 9 is a visually lush, erotic and exploitation work armed with exotic location, weird interpretation and dreamy musical score by Walter Baumgartner. This agreeable movie stars the naughty as the evil doctor Howard Vernon and nasty warden Doris Cole enjoying the female prisoner and torturing them. Plot is incidental to violence, torture and load of nudism. Here the sinister entertainment is watching as the torture-loving warden mistreats prisoner by using all kind ordeals and tortures. as well as the subsequent gateway of the naked girls across the lush jungle. This is a below average and extremely sadistic film with lots of graphic gore, violence, guts, and naked women. Produced in short budget by Erwin Dietrich, the motion picture was largely directed by Jesus Franco with lots of skin and no acting, providing a boring flick in low budget with plenty of shortfalls, failure, flaws and gaps. In the 70s, Franco directed various women in prison movies such as the revered classic 99 Women with Maria Cell Eliza Montes, Love Camp with Muriel Montos, Monica Swin, Barb Wire Dolls with Lena Romay, Monica Swin, Wanda the Wicked World and with Dan Thorne, Lena Romay. Not for the easily offended, Frauen for Zellenblock 9 is an essential and fundamental trash movie gem, not to be missed for Jess Franco enthusiasts. It is a 78-minute of pure mind-melting sleaze entertainment with no sense and for some fans being an exploitation gold. The film is set in a South American jungle prison during a revolt. At the beginning, the camp commandant and the prison doctor, Dr. Costa, are waiting with some guards for a truck. The truck is said to be loaded with fruit and vegetables. There are also 6 young women on board. After 3 of them are called out by name and arrested on suspicion of revolutionary activities, the other 3 are handed over to the guards. The 3 prisoners, Karine, Barbara and Ada, soon find themselves naked and chained up in the notorious Cellblock 9. One by one, they are brought in for interrogation, which the doctors support with various and perfidious tortures. After Barbara and Ada have resisted the torture and stubbornly remained silent, Karine collapses under the torture and denounces some revolutionary in the capital. Meanwhile, the young local student Mary also ends up in the same cell. She was allegedly found with rebel propaganda material. Her torture consisted of spending 3 days in solitary cell without food or water. She was then taken to dinner with the commander and the doctor, where she first had to satisfy the boss and then get a small sip of over-salted champagne. When the 4 women are alone again in Cellblock 9, they come up with an escape plan to warn their contact in the capital. The quartet managed to distract the guard, knock him down and escape with his gun. Shortly after leaving the cell block, Ada is killed in a shootout with another guard who also dies. The other 3 flee into the jungle, but Barbara is shot and can only move slowly. But they manage to reach an old temple where they feel safe and remove the bullet from Barbara's shoulder. When Karine and Mary go into the jungle to look for something to eat, the pursuing guard catch their trail and also arrive at the temple. After Barbara has been beaten to death with rifle butt, the other 2, alarmed by her scream, run back to the temple and suddenly find themselves alone in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by prison guards in front of the camp commandant and the doctor. In a last desperate move, Karine managed to snatch the commandant's gun. But when she doesn't pull the trigger, the commandant gives the order to fire and the last two prisoners are struck down on the spot. The film ends with the bodies being released for desecration